Hello, everyone. It's Dr. Ruddy. Welcome back to Morning Rounds. Today, I would like to speak to you about a enterprise which is very popular right now, has received a lot of enthusiasm in the scientific community and even at the level of the presidency, and that is the study of cancer mutations. So the goal is to provide personalized, targeted, specific cancer therapy for the individual patient based on the profile of their tumor. So this genomic analysis of the mutations that are involved in cancer formation and tumor progression basically have three components. The first component is to first identify the genes that seem to be driving cancer formation and progression. So what genes are involved and what are the mutations in those genes? The second objective is to understand exactly how those genes and those genetic mutations alter growth and spread of the tumor. So you find the genes that look suspicious and then you try and figure out exactly what they're doing. And the third thing is to develop targeted therapies so that you might be able to interrupt the action and the outcomes of these genetic mutations. Notice that the word cure is not mentioned in any of these discussions. This is treatment. So identify the genes, understand what they're doing, and develop targeted pharmacologic agents that can interrupt what it is that they're doing. And ultimately, if all goes well, to improve the survival of the patients who have these tumors. So, given that, in this week's issue of Science, just came in the mail yesterday, there is a very interesting article on a group of scientists who are doing just that. They have looked at 17 different human cancers. They have pulled data from 8,000 patients. They have assembled 900,000 data sets from these patients, their tumors, and the genetic mutations and the cancer genes that are expressed in this gigantic database. And they have used a systems analysis to try and understand and analyze what is going on with these cancer genes. What they have found is that a large percentage of the mutations that they have found in these 900,000 data sets do seem to be responsible for the growth and spread of the cancers. A large percentage, but not the majority thus far. Secondly, what they found was that within the tumor itself, there was more genetic variation. There was a wider distribution of, shall we say, internal mutations than there were differences between tumors. So one breast cancer tumor would have, on average, more internal genetic mutations than is seen between, say, your average breast cancer and your average lung cancer. Of course, we understood this before, but it's worth just mentioning it again. It's almost as if you stand in line, a long line, because the Powerball was $749 million, whatever it was. And of course, the lines were, snaked around the block. You want to get a ticket. And the machine was just punching out tickets, numbers and numbers. There was one winning combination. So cancer cells are punching out these lottery tickets in the hope that somehow they hit on the winning combination that allows them to do whatever they want to do, which is basically just spread and take over the entire body. If you want an example, an image from the same issue of Science, this is a supernova taken from that issue. And this is really what tumors are like. They just explode with mutations. The bottom line, I think, is that this drive to achieve precision medicine is noble. However, the goal of finding that one gene or a couple of genes in a particular patient's tumor that explain really what's going on and would allow a targeted personalized therapy, that goal is still a distant point on a very broad horizon. It's not that we shouldn't take the journey. I think we should take the journey. I think we should be brave and be bold, and I think we should go forth like the Voyager and see what we can discover. You know, Christopher Columbus was convinced, as were all sailors, that the world was round. Only the people who didn't sail held to the belief that the world was flat. But sailors knew that the world was round, because if you stood on the shore and watched a sailboat go off into the distance, the sailboat did not get smaller. The sailboat appeared to sink, so that all that was left in the distance was just the mast. Sailors knew, well, it had to be that the world was round, not flat. So Columbus persuaded people with the money to allow him just to sail west. He thought he was going to China. He wanted to get to China faster than the land route, which took forever and was pretty dangerous. Not that sea voyages were not dangerous, but Christopher Columbus sailed west, secure in the knowledge that the world was round and that he would hit China, and he did not hit China. He hit North America. So I think that our intention to find the gene mutations that explain cancer progression, to identify them specifically in a particular individual patient's tumor, is noble. We may end up in China with this, but we may end up in North America. We may end up someplace else. It's worth looking at it, but I would urge you not to be deluded by the exuberance and the promise. You know, we were promised that cancer would be cured in 5 years. There's now the promise of precision cancer medicine. Let's just see how we progress, what we can discover, and how that can be applied. In the meantime, the pure cure for cancer is prevention. As an aside, there's an interesting news flash. Ben Bernanke apparently has agreed to speak at an October conference on cryptocurrency. If you know anything about really what's behind cryptocurrency, I mean the special drawing rights of the IMF and so forth, not Bitcoin. If you know what's behind cryptocurrency, you're going to find this piece of news not only interesting, but perhaps just a bit alarming. And if you want to learn more about that, again, I would refer you to ITM Trading on YouTube. This would be Lynette Zhang, who is a master of explaining finance and currency and what is going on behind the scenes, almost as if, remember that scene from The Wizard of Oz? You know, ignore the man behind the curtain, okay? The great and wonderful Oz. Yeah, okay, so Lynette is like Dorothy, and she is not afraid to go behind the curtain and say, who are you? What do you think you're doing there? If, like me, you are persuaded that perhaps it's time to preserve your wealth, then you want to get in touch with Donna Corbin, and this is the number 480-526-7870. She'll be glad to walk you through not only the justification, but some of the ways that you could perhaps prevent what I believe, this is my opinion, I will stand to be corrected if I'm wrong, but I'm of the opinion that this cryptocurrency being pulled off by the central banks is really another form of crypto theft, and I'm opposed to theft, crypto or otherwise. Anyway, have a very good weekend, and one last thing, I would like to wish everyone on the east coast of Texas all the best. They've got a hurricane barreling right down at them. And I know that I speak not only for myself, but for my church. We will keep you in our prayers. Stay warm and dry. Thumbs up to you. Thumbs down to breast cancer.